Hi guys, I just compiled a small video incorporating two-way switching, incorporating two-way dimming, incorporating two-way switching on a PLC, and incorporating two-way dimming on a PLC. Of course, there are many ways to do it on a PLC. I just showed one.
A regular two-way switch. So we've got our light coming down into the switch. We've got our common here on the two-way module, and then we've got our strappers and a little intermediate here. Our strappers go back to the same terminals on our two-way switch, and then the common then on the side would then come from the live. They convert that down the line to a two-way based system that can do bell presses on both sides, and then obviously work a dimmer. So how do you do that? You go and wire the bell press in over here on your dimmer switch. This is no longer a two-way module, neither is this one. This is now going to be just your bell press. The bell press that say press, you go wire them onto the strappers this side and on this side. And then here's the tricky part, because your live normally would have come in on the one side with your two-way. But the tricky part is you just now have to get a live, if there isn't one, down your switch, because you need permanent live by the dimmer module now. Obviously, if it's an edge trail dimmer, you need to press the bell press. The bell press will be pressing from both the sides now. And then it obviously has to then chop up the live to create the dimming effect. Right, so let's just go and look at what exactly you would do if you did it on a PLC. If you are using a PLC for two-way switching, one of the easier ways to do it is to time the switches to put off the common output. But another way to do it would be to run it through an XOR gate, because obviously in a PLC, you'd have your switch over here relaying to your PLC, say your other switch from the other side of the two-way relaying to the PLC, and on your output card, you have your input relays, normally 24 volt DC. You have your light over here, or your common output, and then you have your one side of the two-way, other side of the two-way, right, wired straight through to the PLC. All right. So the logic that you would use with two-way switching would be called XOR, right? What XOR basically means is if the one input is high and the other one is low, it is on. If they're both high or if they both are low, it'll not work at all. So in other words, what I'm saying here is if this person switches his switch to on position, this one switches it to on position, the common output would be off. All right, and if this person switches it to the off position, the light would come on. If this person switches it to the other side of the switch, in other words, it'll then come on or be off again. But either way, this configuration with the XOR works perfectly fine for regular two-way switching. It's the easiest little function block to put in, and then you just basically assign for your two I's and your one O in this case. Guys, and to do dimming on a PLC,